Are you a righteous person? Are you willing to do what it takes to be a team player, a leader even? Well, good, because Victor Saltzpyre is ready for you. The Witch Hunter Captain, the aforementioned leader of this group, the band of heroes in Vermintide 2. This guy is pretty cool, pretty useful, and pretty fun. Let's talk. His passive ability, Witch Hunt. Tagged enemies take an additional 20% damage, does not stack with similar effects. So you can tag elites, specials, and monsters, basically. And it lasts for, I don't know how long, but 15-ish seconds, and any enemy you tag, anyone on your team can tag an enemy. You can have 4 enemies tagged at once, and they all take 20% additional damage. Really nice. His career skill, Animosity. Victor pushes back nearby enemies and boosts nearby allies' critical hit chance by 25% for 6 seconds. This is really nice because if you're a good team and you're coordinated and you stay together and you've got a giant horde bearing down on you, you can do Animosity. It'll knock that whole horde back, and everybody will just be critting like crazy from Animosity. Eternal Guard. No light attack block cost from frontal attacks. Now this is pretty nice because no one else really has a talent like this, if you will. You could go the route of like no block cost reduction and just kind of, if you're a skilled dodger, you can avoid those heavy charge attacks and bob and weave all around people, and you won't get hit. You won't take any loss of stamina from light attacks. Pretty nice. And then Killing Shot. Critical hit headshots instantly slay man-sized enemies. That goes for ranged attacks and melee attacks as well. Pretty cool. Now let's talk about temporary health. As I always say, heal share, I think, is just not very good, If you've got a character that's just downright terrible at creating temp health, I guess you could use this, but this guy is not that. He's got, critical strikes and headshots restore 2 temporary health. Not really the best. I mean, it could work for this guy, but I think Walking Judgment is much better. Damaging multiple enemies in one swing grants you temporary health. So each hit on an enemy is going to give you 1 temporary health, pretty much. So with the Axe and Falchion, as you can see, what I'm using, you're just going to be non-stop swinging. You're going to make a ton of temp health. And then down here, there's a couple good talents down here. I like Flens with the Axe and Falchion, as I like to use. It just causes enemies to bleed as you're hitting them. It does a bit more damage than just a single hit from extra headshot damage, but if you're using like the Rapier or even the Bill Hook, I mean, this is probably the one you want to use here, because you're going for that headshot, you're going for the big damage, the big hit, And then you have Riposte. Blocking just as an enemy is about to attack. Blocking just as an enemy attack is about to hit causes your next melee attack to be a guaranteed critical hit. That's not really that great. I think one of these two be the one. If you're going to use the Axe and Falchion, I highly recommend Flens. Very nice talent here. And then, of course, Assassin. Assassin is one of those talents that's just really nice. You deal 20% more to staggered enemies, and your critical strikes do 40% bonus damage. And with this guy, he boosts your crit chance. He's going to be doing a lot of critting, so Assassin is definitely the way to go. Wild Fervor down here, this is the big one for this guy. This is his best talent, by far. This talent is amazing. Witch Hunt grants 5% critical hit chance to the entire party for 5 seconds when a taggable enemy dies. So if anyone on your squad kills an elite or a special or a monster, the entire party gets 5% increased critical hit chance. So if you're playing on a higher difficulty, with a lot of those kinds of enemies, you're going to be getting extra crit chance all the time. It's so nice. So nice. And then you have Heretic Sighted. Tagging enemy increases attack speed by 10%. 15 seconds. This only applies to you, not your whole team. It's okay. You know, it lasts a long time, which is nice, but it's just okay. Then you have Templar's Knowledge. Witch Hunt causes enemies to take an additional 5% damage. So instead of 20%, they're taking 25%. To me, that's not enough to justify taking away 5% crit chance, extra crit chance from your entire party. I like this one for this guy. And then down here are kind of some not that great talents, to be honest. You have increased dodge. Pushing an enemy increases stamina regeneration by 40% for 2 seconds, which you don't really need because you already have no light attack block cost reduction. So this is kind of useless on this guy. So I just go for a little extra ammunition, 30%. You know, just helps for killing those elites, those specials, and those monsters to give yourself more crit chance. And then down here, I use Fervency. Animosity grants Victor guaranteed melee critical strikes for the duration, which is why I use Assassin. You get that extra super duper damage with this. You also have I Shall Judge You All, which applies Witch Hunt to enemies hit by Animosity. So enemies that you push back also take 20% additional damage. That one's okay. Like I said, I think the crits just do more, so I like this. You have the Unending Hunt. Hitting 10 or more enemies with Animosity refunds 40% cooldown. So if you're just looking to boost the crit chance a lot and knock people back a lot, and you have big hordes around you all the time, this could be one to use. But like I said, I don't think anything beats out Fervency. This one's just too good. And then for the equipment, as I said, I like the Axe and Falchion with this guy. It is a little bit slow, so I go crit chance and attack speed with Swift Slaying. The attack speed just to make it a little faster. The crit chance for that extra damage, helping with Assassin, and also to trigger Swift Slaying, which gives you even more attack speed for 5 seconds. Pretty nice. And then I use the Brace of Pistols. This is pretty much just for damage to bosses, and I prioritize Gun Rats, Fire Rats, Assassins, Hook Rats, the Skaven specials, pretty much over the Chaos specials, because Blightstormers are pretty much like they're a bigger target, so they're easier to hit. So I don't think you really need the extra power. But I use Hunter with these. Hunter's really good with these because critical hits increase attack power by 25% against targets with the same armor class for a short time. Now with these, when you're using them, you're pretty much gonna rapid fire. Any crits will just let you do a big amount of extra damage like that, as you saw. And you can really mess up a boss with Hunter. It's really nice for the Brace of Pistols. And then the necklace, I go health. I use health on all my characters. Bark Skin, this guy's got 150 health, so he's, with Bark Skin, he can be a little bit tanky. Not like super squishy, but pretty good. And then I go for block cost reduction. I don't push a lot with this guy. The Axe and Falchion's not great for pushing. I'll do it maybe occasionally, but the 30% block cost reduction is just for those heavy attacks. Just so I'm not instantly downed by 2 heavy attacks at the same time. I can kind of get away if I need to. And then the charm, I go for Power Burst Chaos attack speed to make that Axe and Falchion just a little bit faster. A little extra damage to the Chaos Hordes. They have a little bit more health than Skaven. And then I like Concoction, if you're in a pinch, any kind of potion, real quick. His ability cooldown's about, I think it's a little over a minute, so you'll get most of that back. You'll also be able to run around real fast and do a bunch of damage for a short amount of time. It's pretty good. If you want to use Decanter with this guy, I could understand that. That'll work well as well, but I like Concoction. I'm partial to it. And then for the Trinket, Curse Resistance, absolutely a must unless you're doing Cataclysm. Extra crit chance to help more damage. You trigger the elite kills for the extra crit chance for your whole team. And then shrapnel. I talk about shrapnel all the time. One of the most underrated talents in the game. If you're good at like coordinating with a squad, even if you have randoms, just say like, I have shrapnel, give me a bomb for like a boss or something, chuck it at them. And if you have like like a shade or a bounty hunter, they can do their specials right after. You can coordinate it, they'll do that extra damage. Plus, with this guy, you'll have that monster tag, so you'll be doing just like that much more extra damage. You know, overall, this guy does some really nice damage, and he can get the killing done.